Well, hop on to my flying Nimbus, because we really should get going.
You mean I can actually ride on this thing without falling?
Well, sure, but you do have to have a pure heart.
Oh, that's okay. When your dad's the Ox King, you always behave well.
I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibes. Got no time for bullshit in my life. I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibe. Got no time for bullshit in my life. Super Saiyan with this flow. Like Vegeta, my heart stay cold. Smoking on that Saiyan, bro. Feeling like I'm on a Nimbus cloud, yo. I just want it all, I just wanna ball. Wanna go to the mall, not care about the cost. Puffin' on the dopest dope, in a sweet or raw. Hella high, singing catchy songs. My mind stay floating, smoking on this potent. Got my mind constantly going, has me going slow motion. Wanna be sipping Arizona tea, rolling up the finest weed. In San Diego, by the beach, living how I should be. I'm just trying to live my life, so my blunt and stay lit. Fuck all the drama, that's my mindset. Feeling good, just vibing. You can catch me smiling. I'm up in the clouds, I'm flying. Got no time for no bullshit or lying. I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibes. Got no time for bullshit in my life. I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibe. Got no time for bullshit in my life. Let's go, man. Fuck all that drama shit. Take me to my paradise with some video games, give me some double cheeseburgers, give me some good ass weed, and let's go.
Here we are, another episode of The Artistry of. But you already know that because you clicked on it, or you got a notification, or I sent this to you directly. Yo, check out this episode. You're like, oh man, what episode am I checking out? Well, here we are. What's been going on? Well, you know, guys, I like to post on Wednesdays. I actually record on Wednesday, and after recording, that's when I upload. Now, I wanted to do an episode. I've been wanting to do this episode for probably like 2 or 3 weeks, right, since the last one, because I wanted to. Maybe I would say take a week off because you guys know how the serial killer stuff is, and on me anyway. Like I just went too deep, right? And I'm like, oh man, I gotta take a second before I jump back on a saddle, right? Your boy get rocked around. So that's pretty much what's been going on. Now, what I am going to talk about Wayne Williams and Samuel Little, and I just want to make sure that that's his name. I know it's Sam or Samuel, but I'm not sure if it's Little or whatever. But again, I mean, this stuff I can't use this.
Let me introduce you to Bo Miles, a unique and likable guy. Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artist's dream.
This iPad because it's just too slow. All right, yeah, here we go. Samuel Little. Let's see if that's the right name. Yep, that's the right name. And 60 confirmed, 93 confessed, which he's pretty thorough, right? Now, these are black serial killers, but we're also going to touch on BTK a little bit, like not extensively, but we'll touch on a few other killers as well, because we're looking at the introduction, and not even just the introduction, but the evolution of using DNA, and I would say just modern police tactics. And now these tactics can range from looking at your Instagram posts, looking at pictures that's in the back, looking at other social media, right? So just looking at your social media posts, whether it's Snapchat or it's just a whole amalgamation of things, which, it's crazy, right? But on the dark side of it, right? Because all of these things that police use, then criminals use them as well. The same tactics, right? Because we're just ordinary people. We don't know which way to go, right? So it's just weird, but you never think of it like that. And then, like this book, I have a few books, but the one that I'm using as a reference right now is the Big Book of Serial Killers. And like I said, I have a few of them, and like I'm not even sure if this might be the one that's like, it's like huge. It's in like alphabetical order, and they just have a whole bunch of killers that you never even heard of. And they even have like some killers, I think like the most craziest stories, like you just can't even believe. And these are the ones that's coming out of like South America. Right? And it's like, man. So then you start to think like, okay, so what is causing this serial killerness? Right? And I had some ideas on it, but just looking at the tactics, right? Looking at the tactics that the police use, social media, looking at your background, like looking at your images, right? So I'm saying that like that's what we're going to actually. So we're seeing it with gangbangers. And anytime I say gangbangers, I'm thinking of like porn. Like I don't think of like the 40 Street Crips or the 31st Bloods, and I don't even think of that whenever I say it, like gangbangers. I just see like a whole bunch of guys just waiting to serve up some nice, pretty queen. But since we're on these tactics, gangbangers that I'm talking about, we're not talking about adult actors, and mainly it's the youth, mainly it's the kids. So they're using these tactics already, right? Our kids, they're looking at getting a drop on your location. They're stalking. So like what they're doing is they're stalking their prey using social media, and then they're going in for the attack. And they're really good. Like these guys are really good. I couldn't even tell you, like, man, how did you get it from that light post? And like, how do you know to go on Google Earth and just like you do I guess you do a search first. You go to Google and you maybe type in that street. Like I don't know, but like these guys are getting accurate, and they're able to find it on Google Earth and look at the whole surroundings, and then I guess manipulate the camera to match the way that your picture is to get an actual location. These are tactics that the police, and I'm guessing the police have been using, and what I'm guessing just by me talking is that it all comes out in trial. It all comes out in trial. Now, I haven't examined anyone's paperwork, but just as a reference, EOS, I follow him on YouTube. and I've been watching like hood vlogs, right? And watching hood vlogs, you get a chance to see that like all of the like, look, people are cool. Like everybody is cool. Hitler was cool. Like I'm sure if hood vlogs could have did 24 hours with Hitler, you would have saw a side of him that was like, yo, well, man, why the fuck you killing the Jews, man? What the hell is wrong with you, man? So it's like you have to understand, you have to acknowledge that all people are good, right? At the very core of that person is good, meaning that, okay, if you're like, we're talking about serial killers, right? So eventually, like, we're going to be getting to these serial killers, but I think Henry Lucas, like, he was vile, right? He was as vile as he still had some type of friends, which was another killer. I can't think of his friend's name, but his friend was the one who killed, I believe was the one they believe who killed John Walsh's son, which in turn is the reason why we have like the Code Adam and things like that. Right? And I could just look up his friend. It might be Elmer. Here, let's look. Because, these killers, they have friends, right? That's the whole point. They have friends, and they have friends because there's a part of them that's acceptable. That's like, yo, you're a good person, right? There's a part of them like that. Okay, so let's look up Lucas, and then we'll be able to find his friend. Now, I think there's a couple serial killer teams. Like right now, I'm looking at John Allen Muhammad and Malvoy, Lee Boyd out Malvoy, though they were the DC snipers, right? And I remember when that was going on. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I wasn't even in DC, but I think maybe somebody got murdered closer to West Virginia. So they even had tarps out, like when people were pumping gas in West Virginia, because I think maybe there was a copycat or something that was around my town. So that's just crazy. All right, so where are we? We're talking about Lucas. All right, so let's get to Lucas, and then we can find his friend. Like I said, I think his name is Lucas, but nope, I guess it's not. It's Henry. Who is Henry Lucas? That's the thing. You get all of these names, right? And it's like, man. And I saw like I just saw the guy, but now he's not coming up. And I could be merging different names, but I know that he was definitely Henry. So we'll just have to look. We'll have to not worry about it. I could use my phone and get him, because this guy was vile, right? But he had a friend, and Henry Lee Lucas. So I don't know why it didn't come up when I was looking there. Let's see his friend, because they would. There's even a Netflix series or something, a show or something, The Confession Killer. So I'm gonna have to check that out. But him and his friend, they work together. So it's weird that, like, I'm not seeing his friend, because that's really who I was looking for. But he might not even be the one that I'm thinking about. Yeah, this is him. All right, there we go. Tool. Let's make sure. Because there's a movie called Henry. I remember seeing this as a kid. I remember seeing this as a kid, and it was like man, it was so brutal to watch this movie. You know, just watching it from a kid's perspective. I don't even think I should have even seen it. So it was Michael Rooker, or Rooker, like Rooker. Michael Rooker played Henry, and let's see, drug dealer Otis. So Otis. So that was his friend. And I want to say that Otis was the one who they believe killed John Walsh's son. So let's see. Lucas and Otis Toole. All right, so look, your boy, his memory is not as bad as I thought. I definitely wanted to make sure, because I'm just going off of memory, and I'm not going to give all of the details, because I feel like this is a good journey for anyone that wants to look into it further. But I at least want to kind of set us off on the right track. I want to be like, it was John Walsh and Conrad Yellow, right? So it's like, what? So at least we got some of the names, right? But our whole point was that these killers, no matter how vile, right? Y'all know I like that word, how vile, right? This is Halloween, it's close to Halloween. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens, right? So it's no matter how vile the person is, there's at least one other person who, no matter how you look at it, if they're, people will be like, oh, I was afraid and that's why I hung around, or whatever excuses they give you, but you like that person. So whether you want to admit it or not, it's something about that person that caused you to hang around and hang out with them and go out committing different crimes and different things. But once you get in court, then you get caught, then at that point, you're either going to become a typical person in that situation. All of the answers, it all sounds the same. So you just can't even believe it, right? Now, I'm not saying that if you were or you are in that type of situation that is not real, that you probably don't want to hurt people and you probably don't want to do certain things, but there's a part of you that actually likes it, even if you don't want to admit it. And I've experienced that in my youth, just hanging out with different bullies growing up. Right, like being bullied and then getting a chance to hang out with bullies. I've never bullied anyone. There's no one on this earth that have ever lived on this earth that can be like, yeah, Bo bullied me. Like, nah, that's not gonna happen. Now my kids, they'll probably, Dad made me go to school. Like, look, trust me, if you wasn't my kid, I really wouldn't be trying to bully you to go to school. Like, trust me, it's I wouldn't be trying to bully you to get straight A's and bully you to have a good life, right? So my kids, they'll probably say that that I was a bully, but hell, I wish I had a bully like me that, nah, Bo, you gonna go to school? Oh, nah, you gonna do your homework? Like, homework. Oh, you don't want to do your homework? Like, they start cracking their knuckles, like, right? But other than that, but just getting a chance to hang out with the bully, it was fun. It was fun. Just getting to hang out. Look, no one's messing with you because this guy's the one that's messing with people. So it was a good perspective. It was a good shift in perspective, and it was a good experience to experience that, right? To have that under my belt of experiences, to be on both ends of the spectrum far as seeing, right? Now, I've experienced personally being bullied and being afraid. And then on the opposite side, I got a chance to see, like, third person, the bully and his victims, right? But I've never been a bully. So, you know, I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud that I've never raped a woman because, like, I remember as a kid, a bunch of the, like, I don't know how many of them it was total, but there used to be all types of, like, kid gangbangs back when I was little. And when I say a whole bunch, not meaning that it happened every day. So it didn't. You know, a lot of these stories that I talk about, these are not things that happen every day, but those youthful gangbangs, I want to say youthful just because they were like, look, talking about people that's maybe 15, 13 up to 17, right? And so I remember those type of experiences, and I want to say that I remember it happening 2 times. Now, this time I'm about to speak of is not even a part of the 2. This is something separate that I wasn't a part of, but we all just kind of heard. And some guys, kids, they got charged. Now, I want to say I was around 13, 14. I was around 13 or 14. Could have even been 12 to 13. So let's just get 12 to 14. But I would say lock it in around 13, 14. And it was another gang because the way the Baltimore streets was back in the 90s, because that's when I was a teenager. It was the 90s, so you got the early 90s. The way it worked back then, because we didn't have Bloods and Crips and GDs and BDs and Vs. Like, we didn't have none of it. We didn't have any of that stuff. And if we did, like, I had never heard of it, right? And we love the West Coast. Like, we love Snoop, and we loved like MC8. Like, we love West Coast rappers and West Coast hip hop. Too Short. E40, like Baltimore during that time was very accepting. Like, I know that a lot of West Coast rappers and mainly the whole East Coast West Coast beef was portrayed in the media, right? But Baltimore loved West Coast hip hop. Like, we loved it. I mean, we played everything. It wasn't exclusive like New York, because New York, I want to say that New York, so many of the artists came from New York, so they were locked in to a bias. So even before the East Coast West Coast beef, before it even happened, West Coast artists wasn't getting played in New York. A lot of West Coast hip hop and down south, and if you wasn't from New York as a rapper, you wasn't getting played in New York. But in Baltimore, like, look, we was very accepting of everybody. I remember Crucial Conflict. Like, they was playing Crucial Conflict, right? They was playing Bone. They was playing Snoop. They was playing, like I said, E40. Like, look, E40 is so revolutionary in his delivery. It's so, like, the first time you heard it, it was so out of the box that it was like, yo, we even played that. Right, so we was very, very, very open, and I'm not really sure where I was going with that point about hip hop. but the 90s, and yeah, I remember the story that I'm telling. So we got a crew. So the way Baltimore gangs worked during that time is you had your core gang that was defined by a street. We was North and Bond. That was like our ultimately that became the name of our gang, right? North Avenue and Bond Street. That was our gang, North and Bond. But I don't believe anyone even lived on North and Bond. Like no one. Maybe we had one member who lived close, like on North Avenue, that was close to that place, right? He was close, and I don't think we had. Yeah, we had like maybe one person on North Avenue, one person on Bond Street, right? But we all came over there and hung over there. So you got North and Bond, and then as we started to expand our territory, what we did was we just linked up and just kind of connected with the other gangs. So North and Bond was pretty solid, I would say, all the way down to Federal and Dallas, which was Fed and Dead. Fed and Dead was they was like a money making gang, so it wasn't even like we was just hanging out and occasional fights, but it wasn't nothing serious. But Fed and Dead, like back then, I mean, they were like killers, and they was a big drug spot. I don't know if it was heroin or cocaine or weed. Like I don't know what they sold, because by us being young, being kids, like we didn't sell until later on. But Fed and Dead, like they was huge in our neighborhood, right? So you got Fed and Dead, and like I said, so in between North and Bond and Fed and Dead, you probably have a few other gangs, right? I'm not even sure who would be there, but you're gonna have a few other small gangs or whatever. And then you go past Fed and Dead, and then you get some more gangs. So the way it would work is like we was just building up. We was just building. So you have, I don't know, like to me, like because I wouldn't know the names of these different gangs because they wasn't big. But just far as manpower, I would say we was probably like 100, right? Once you start to add all of these different gangs, we would be like 100, couple hundred deep, right? And that's so crazy. It's weird when you really think about it. It's just kids. Like we're just 13 and 14-year-olds, and I think maybe one of the gangs had like an 18-year-old. He was seen like an old man. Like, yo, man, 18. You feel me? It was crazy. Like he couldn't barely fight nobody, right? And I remember because I don't want to say his name just because I don't want to put him on blast, right? Just because like we always felt like something was wrong with him. Like, yo, man, here we are, 13 to 15. You know, this guy is 18. Like, yo, something wrong with him. Like, and this was our thinking back then. As you know, this is our thinking as a 13-year-old kid. Like, yo, man, something wrong with him. Like, you don't see no 18-year-olds hanging out with us like that. Like, yo, he should be with Fed and Dead. Like, Fed and Dead was older. Like I said, they was getting money, right? So we had connections and ties to those older crews, but the older crews was out hustling, like really hustling, making a lot of money. So I remember that guy, the 18-year-old, like I think he beat up like one of our guys, and you know, we had to squad up and take it to him, right? And so, you know, so that's the terrain. Well, further down, I want to say it was like Preston. I'm not even sure the name of the street. But further down was another gang that we would, in times of war, we would all like come together. And we barely fought each other. Like we really didn't fight each other, but we didn't hang out, right? So if you mess with a girl down there, you was good. You go down there, you hang out, right, with the girl, and you don't got to worry about nobody messing with you. So you can walk from there. And we talking about maybe a 2-mile walk. You could do your 2-mile walk from there all the way back to home base, and you was good, right? But occasionally we might fight, right? We might fight amongst each other, but I promise you this. But so that was the terrain right now, all the way down there. I think we call that the bottom. So the bottom, they had some type of gang bang. Like, I don't know what, like, look, I don't know what they was doing down there. But, like, a bunch of guys was having sex with this girl. And from that gang. And this is how I heard the story, and this is my memory, right? So she's having intimacy with a few of the guys, right? I'm not sure how many, but she's having. And then at some point, maybe she wanted to go. And one of the other guys is like, nah, it's not time yet. It's not time to go. So, boom. That's rape. And eventually she gets away, and she lets the police know, and then the police is going, like, they're looking for, just look, if you black, you got dreads, because you figure when these things happen in the hood, where, you know, girls come into the hood, like come into the neighborhood and just look, it's a carnival ride type of thing. Like, they don't know these people, right? And especially like once the ride, like once it's happening, and people start, like, because people, they're going to be talking, because it's like something happened, like somebody come to your hood and you get into a fight, like everybody in your hood is going to come out, like they're going to hear, because we're really close. We're going to hear that, like, yo, so such and such is fighting, and then everybody, it's going to be a huge crowd. So that happened during these gangbangs as well, and that's why they become gangbangs, is because you only have a few people that's engaging, right? Maybe it's like 3 or 4 having sex with this one girl, and she's open, like she's, look, next. And then, I mean, it's a mob. I mean, it looks like they handing out teas. Like, man, it's crazy like that. So that's what happened down in the bottom, right? It gets out of control. She's like, nah, you know, this is crazy, right? And I already know, like, just from my own experiences, like, guys can be real disrespectful in those type of situations. So, especially like kids, right? These young boys, you like 13 to 15, like, man, you don't know what's going on. They can be very disrespectful. So it'll turn a lot of the girls off. And that's what happened. Boom. Now she, like I said, reports it to the authorities. The authorities looking for anybody, like not even just the bottom. Now they even, because Norfolk Bond is up top, right? So they even coming up there looking for people with dreads. You got dreads, like, yo, you going in for questioning, you going in for a lineup. She's gonna pick you out. So people start, like, people cutting off their hair, like, I mean, it was just crazy. And I had dreads at the time. And, you know, I'm like, well, I mean, I wasn't even down there. Like, I just wasn't even afraid of the situation. But, I mean, I knew a couple of the guys who actually got caught up in it. And boom, so they get caught up. Boom, now they have, like, for the most part, your juvenile record is going to be sealed. Looking at it now, but like when you was going through it as a kid, like, you like, yo, man, this is bad business. And I don't even think we was even hearing about, like, the sex registry. Like, I don't even know if that even existed back in the early 90s. So you wasn't even thinking, like, yo, you gotta sign up, you got registered as a sex offender. Like, I don't even know how that worked with juveniles, right? But that happened. And just thinking about, like, all right, what's the What's the point? I don't even know, right? But ultimately, it was rough. I don't know what was the point of that story as we're relating. I mean, I can see a connection, but I don't know my exact specific point, right? But where the main thing that I want to talk about with this introduction, I'll be having these grand introductions, is how the technology is being used, right? So now we're talking about the paperwork, right? This paperwork gets out because it has to, far as the investigation, all this stuff is coming out in trial. How they were able to locate the suspect, how they were able to do this, how they were able to do that. And then you got cops who are maybe talking, right? You got dirty cops, which I'm familiar with, right? You got dirty cops, and I can't even look. I can't even say dirty cops, right? I can't even say that. I can't say dirty cops because I feel like all cops, they're all dirty. Meaning that it's just a job. So it's not dirty. It's not dirty. It's just humanity. Like we put such regard and like, man, people been watching Saturday morning, especially my generation, watching Saturday morning cartoons so much of good and evil and right and wrong. And it's all about the golden rule. Okay. He who has the gold makes the rules. Like that is the truth. That's truth. He who has the gold makes the rules. So we all have an agenda, like the government has an agenda. And when you go against that agenda and you go against that system that's been established, well, then now you're breaking the rules, you're breaking the law. But without a government, then there is no rule, there is no law, right? It's only the ruling force. You go against them, now you're breaking the rules, you're breaking the law, right? Murder, even murder, like, because I mean, death is a part of life, and there's so many things that we don't understand in this life, on this plane, right? So many things that we don't understand. So to call some things right and to call some things wrong, when we really lack the proper understanding of the bigger picture, is just what we call trick knowledge. But we agree to this type of stuff. Okay, you have something that you work for. I shouldn't be able to come over and take it from you. And if I do that, then look, I can't do that. But America has done it. I'm like the people in this country, the original indigenous people of this land, like they had something, and the newcomers, the settlers came over and they took it, and nothing happened to them. Like nothing happened to them, right? When we think about the black struggle, and we talk about 40 acres and a mule. Like we talk about all of these things. Reparation and justice and Black Lives Matter. When we talk about all of this stuff, we was brought over here and we was this and we was that. Like, yo, this land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, right? This land was made for you and me. Like, yo, that's a lie, dog. Yo, they took this shit by force. And I was looking at this girl I was probably working maybe, I want to say like, because she's a driver now. But when I saw her, she wasn't a driver. And so it was probably like, let's give her 4 or 5 months ago. And I was looking at her. She's just so beautiful. She's like just beautiful. And I was just looking at her. You know, I'm doing my work. And I was just thinking like, yo, like this land was taken from her people. Like, yo, this is her land. You got all of these invaders here. And like, yo, she has to conform, right? And at this point, she doesn't even know because this happened centuries ago. This happened centuries ago. And now we're at the end tail, we're at the end game. We're at the end game, and her people is almost non-existent. And like there's no justice for her. There's no justice for her people. Like none. Nobody's talking about what they should have or like none of that. You got people in this country who've never even seen somebody who was original to this land, meaning that they got here first, right? But if you just think of that, look, they got here first. All right, you got here second. But somebody else is going to get here third. Somebody going to get here 10th. It's going to be the 10th person to come over here, right? And take over this land, right? So when you look at it, and that's my point for just good and bad and right and wrong. It's like, and it's so complex that, look, we're just going to agree that, all right, I shouldn't run this red light because I could hurt somebody and I don't want to hurt people, right? But on the bigger picture, it's far greater than I can even understand, right? It's far greater than that. Causality just is just greater. It's greater than my mind can even fathom. Like if you got, I want you guys to really just imagine $1 trillion and pick a room. Like pick a room and then put $1 trillion in it. Like I know personally, I can't even imagine what that would look like. Like I can't imagine what that would look like, right? We think of Scrooge McDuck. DuckTales, ooh, do every day that I make it DuckTales. Do when nature looks behind you, there's a stranger out to find you. Right? You think of that, and you just think of that big, huge vault. Like he had a huge vault, and it was all of these coins, and he used to go swimming in it, right? And it's like, man. So that was coins. If you filled all of that up with hundreds, that would be more than $1 trillion. But that's my point, that $1 trillion just with hundreds is like, it's going to be a lot. I can't even imagine, right? Now we can do the math on it. That's the good thing about humanity. And that's what, like, even just exploring these serial killers, you get to explore humanity. Like, that's what you get to explore. The vast gambit of humanity. So from one extreme of humanity is being able to figure out the distance between the earth and the moon and the earth and the sun and all of the different stars, like being able to figure that out just from the human mind. Like, man, that's so crazy. Like that's beautiful. Like, it's not even just crazy. It's beautiful that people are able to figure that stuff out. And then on the other spectrum, you get down to these serial killers, right? And we don't even know. We don't even understand it. We don't even understand it. But we romanticize about it. I can't say that that's beautiful, right? But I guess I have to say that that's beautiful as well. Just the same as that person or the group of people that actually figured out that we're in a galaxy, that this is the Milky Way, right? Like, just like, man, that is crazy that the human mind was able to do that. But on the same token, the human mind is also able to kill just millions of people right? And when you bring it down on a serial killer level, right? You're able to kill hundreds of people and not get detected or not get caught, or I mean, it's just, it's not beautiful from the victim standpoint, but just looking at humanity as a whole, that's a part of humanity as well. And people don't really like to take it. Well, I can't say people, but some would not like to acknowledge the animal side of man, which man is an animal. But it's like, nah, I ain't no animal, right? Then boom, now they ready to kill. You try to say, I'm an animal, I'll kill you. Like, oh yeah, that's definitely animal-like. That's the only thing is, at least the animal, it doesn't matter what I said to the bear. I just was in his vicinity. He or she felt threatened or hungry or whatever reason they're gonna cook up, and boom, now I'm a meal, right? Now they about to shit out these Under Armour pants I got on. So just looking at the gambit of it, right? Now you got these cops, or you got the paperwork, you got whatever, but no matter what the cause is, people on the other side of policing are now hearing of these tactics that's being developed, right? And law enforcement, when you think of the FBI and the CIA and police departments and all of that, I mean, they have graduates, right? They have people who go to school, and this is this is the crazy thing about it. They go to school, they go to Harvard, they go to the best colleges in the world, and they go and become FBI agents. They go to the best schools, and they go to the military, and they go and they get all of this training to become, right, to catch the criminals. But what happens is just like, I think this is why I love Tekken. I love fighting games. I love chess. Like, I love anything that competes, where you compete against a person, because once a person hits you with a technique, when you're really trying to win and try to beat them, you're going to study that technique, and you're going to incorporate that into your own game. So by the FBI agents going to Harvard, right, and by the Marines and CIA and all of these elite special task forces and all, like, by all of them doing all of this studying, they're actually improving on criminality, right, or criminology, which I'm saying it from a criminal's perspective. Like, so it's like you're lifting. So you're lifting only with your right arm, but because you're lifting with your right arm, and occasionally once the right arm gets so tired, you gotta set that weight over on the left arm. Boom, the left arm gets stronger as well, because the left arm is actually lifting because the right arm is pushing down. So as society grows in one facet, right? They grow with the FBI studying, they're studying. It is just so funny to me that they study and they I can't wait to get out in the field and catch some criminals. But each criminal that you catch, you're actually teaching other criminals what not to do. And for me, like, I love that because people think they're so smart. Like, they think they're so smart. They do. And I like those type of victories for the underdog. I love that. Right? I love that. I think the biggest thing that the rich, and the rich knows this, because that's really what it's about. It's not about race. It's about wealth. The wealthy you are, like, the more status you have in the world. like Elon Musk, I think they say he's a trillionaire, right? He's like he surpassed Bezos or whatever, right? Because of this Hertz deal. He's a trillionaire. So let's say he's a trillionaire, right? Now, that opens up a lot of the country. Like if you think of the most violent places in the world, right? With the proper mentality, Elon Musk can go to the most violent places in the world and like be good, be safe, be like, oh, look, these are my peeps. What's up? I mean, y'all want beef? Come holla at, come on down. Like he could go, like Elon Musk can go to Afghanistan right now and just boom, be good. Look, holla at me, holla at your boy. Elo, I'm here, baby. Like, and people don't understand that, but like, yo, that's real, right? So money and all of these things, Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, like he be taking pies to the face. Like people be hitting him with pies, right? He be out, boom, somebody might come up and just pie him in the face. But with the proper perspective, like all of that can be put to an end. Like, he wouldn't, look, getting pied? You think Pablo Escobar was getting pied in the face? Huh? Come on. You think Big Meech was getting pied in the face? Nah. Nah, man. By the same guys that Bill Gates is getting pied by? Like, nah. It's probably not. Probably not. Right? But my point is, that the wealthy, they know this. They know that, okay, when you apply pressure, when the right hand applies pressure to the left hand becomes stronger. So the right hand is the one lifting the weights and becoming strong. But because it's applying pressure on the left hand, that makes the left hand stronger. The rich and the super wealthy, the super rich, they know this. So what they do is, boom, what do they say? One hand washes the other while both hands washes the face. So what the super wealthy will do is the best way to make sure that, you know, that your opposition is not getting stronger, not getting better, is not to engage with them. Like that's the best, like that's the only way, because once you engage, then you're actually, it's a transfer. It's like sex. So if the rich engages with the poor, then the poor will get some things transferred, right? Now, how do the rich engage with the poor? It's through structures, it's through tiers. There's so many. If you look at these skyscrapers, and some of you, I mean, I believe that there's going to be some type, at least one skyscraper or at least one semi-big building in every town, right? Or within a 50-mile radius. Let's give it 100. Let's go and give it 500-mile radius, right? It's going to be like, because, you know, when you think of skyscraper, like some people's really, like, look, skyscrapers, like, man, it's so huge that it blocks out the sun. Like, yo, you don't even see the sky. Like, look, so certain parts of New York, meaning, if you look directly up, yeah, you're gonna see. But for the most part, it's all diffused lights, meaning that, look, man, the sun is not cracking down. It's not even making it down to the ground, right? Meaning, yeah, it's still light outside, right? It's still daytime, but it's not the same as there is no there's no buildings around, right? Then you look. The sun is all in your eyes, all in your face, right? You gotta, when you drive and you gotta put your visors down, okay? Like, man, there's some blocks in New York, like, yo, you never have to put you don't have to put your visor down. Like, yo, the sun is not in your face because the buildings, there's so many tall buildings, right? That is the structure between the rich and the poor, right? So many levels. Now, this building itself, just being here, its presence is a form of interaction, but it's like a condom, right? It's like a condom. So there's a barrier you don't even really see, and it's all around you, right? It's still there. It's still there, but you don't even see it. You don't even understand it, right? So like that's what's happening, and that's what they understand. Like they understand because if you're directly interacting, then boom, like the poor is going to gain more and more knowledge, right? And that's really what like I said, you have it, but it's really like not on a large scale. It's still vague. It's like that $1 trillion, imagining $1 trillion. It's hard to imagine. A lot of the systems in place to keep the rich, we can't even imagine. Like we're actually looking at them, we can actually see them and touch them, but we don't even realize what they are. And it's only a select few that actually know. Okay, boom, this is how they're getting customers. This is lead generation. This is educating the market, right? So some people have an idea, but some people don't. And even the ones who believe they have an idea, then there's that criminal element that they just can't believe that the rich is really built on. It's like, man, I just can't believe that the reason why America is so wealthy is because they stole the land, they didn't pay for the land, and they didn't pay for the work. I just can't believe, I just can't do that. That's not right. It's like, look, but that's how it's done. If you trying to, if you want to be like America, you want to have an America, right? You want to own an America. Like, that's what you got to do. Go find a company, go find something that someone else already has and take it from them, right? Kill them, take it from them so they can't even dispute it. And then get your workers in there and don't even pay them. Like, don't pay your workers. That's how you have an America, right? So it's just crazy. It's really crazy when you think about it, right? And this is a long tangent about, but it still is in the direction that we're going, right? We're still coming to that stop, and the stop is DNA, right? Because now we've already established that social media, right? These are tactics from law enforcement that law enforcement use, and now criminals, gangbangers, gangbangers are using, right, to stalk their prey. And what you're going to find is that there's going to be a serial killer who is going to use these same tactics, right? Like going to use the same things to stalk his prey or her prey, right? Because as women gain more equality, then they gain more of the stress and more of the burden and more of the things that cause men. We don't even know what causes men to become serial killers, but it's not a chromosome, right? Because women are already in there killing. They've been killing already. But most of the women that we've seen as serial killers, and I think maybe I'll cover that next, will be the women, right? Which will only be like, two. I'm not going to just go through a whole line of them, but the women that do the killing, the serial killing, are mainly they're going to use poison, right? Which is, look, we get that from the very first stories of Cinderella and Snow White and all of that, right? So this isn't nothing new. Like, this is just regular stuff. But I think as women become more, take on more of that role, like more of the masculine household role, then they're going to actually start to be more like men. Now, see, I think one thing that's a difference when you think of the old serial killer, right? Meaning Bundy and Henry Lucas, and we're going to be talking about Wayne Williams, right? All of these guys overpowered their victims. Like they physically overpowered their victims. You got some serial killers that actually they just use a gun, right? The Son of Sam is one who used a gun. But you have more. You have other like we said, Melvo and Muhammad, right? They used the gun. Those the sniper, the DC snipers. They used the gun as well. So you have people who use guns now. Once you start using guns, well then anybody can do it, and that's what we're seeing now, just with all the youth and their killings in the major cities. Like now they have access to all of these guns, and they killing each other, and it's like, man, how the hell they getting all these guns? And I'm not. Look, this is not even going down a conspiracy path for this episode. But the whole point is, like, once people have access, well, then the game changes. So women, they have the ability to go out and start just randomly shooting, or like it's not random. It's just getting fixated on a certain type of man or woman, whoever their prey, and going out and killing them, right? And you just have to believe that it's already happening. It just hasn't reached notoriety. It hasn't reached critical mass to where we're talking about it. But it's happening already. Like you have to understand that it's happening already. Like you just have to understand it. That women, there are women out here in the world. I don't know where they are, but they're out in the world, and they are like shooting. They're like serial killer shooters in the traditional sense of a Wayne Williams, right? And Samuel Little. That's who we're really talking about. And we're saying that, okay, the tactics that the police department and that the FBI and that all of the opposition, the tactics that the ops are using is making others strong and aware, right? So moving on, we have DNA evidence. This is how Wayne Williams was convicted. So Wayne Williams, he is known as the Atlanta child murderer. So I want to say during the 70s, I want to say it's probably like 79 to 81, but it could have even been like 78, right? It was a whole bunch of murders, and like a whole bunch of children being murdered in Atlanta. And this was like I said, 79, maybe 78. But yeah, it was probably like 79. And so a lot of children were starting to come up missing. And they were thinking, because, you got Atlanta, you got the KKK, like, yo, this had to been, like, yo, this might be, KKK are coming in and they're abducting and killing children, right? Like Emmett Till. So, which the people who abducted Emmett Till, I don't know if they were associated with the KKK. I don't want to put that out there because, sometimes people, this is the way they get their knowledge and information. So they might go off in a conversation and be talking and saying, yeah, the KKK killed Emmett Till. And so I don't want to put that out there because then somebody will correct them. But, I don't want them like, yo, man, Bo just sent me out here raw dogging. Like, yo, man, Bo got me out this bitch raw dogging. So, no, the KKK didn't kill Emmett Till, but people were believing and thinking that maybe the KKK came in and was grabbing and abducting these children, right? This is one of the theories. And this also ties to the less dead idea, right, from Sam Little, where it's like, all right, you have this hierarchy in the system. So if you like the number one is like a rich or pretty white girl. So when she dies or she gets murdered or she gets killed, which we see it, with Gabby, right? Which is still sad for anybody, right? And not to even go off on another tangent, but it made me think of Ari Shafir, the comedian. I think he's like a Jewish comedian, and when famous people die, like he'll go on this comedic rant, and it was like a huge backlash. People start going after him, his own kind, meaning comedians, right? His own comedic friends, they're turning on him. Some of them, so some people turning on him, and his point, which I can't say like this is his ultimate point, but one of the points that I got from it was that other people die, and we don't care. We don't give that same type of care to other people, to so-called regular people. But when a famous person dies, then it's like their life is better, right? So he roasts, he just roasts people, no matter who it is, right? He'll roast it. And so this idea of less dead. So Sam Little, he said, look, the number one standard is a young, pretty white girl. So you kill her, boom, everybody's going to be a lot of attention, a lot of media, a lot of this, a lot of that is going to be focused on her. And then you can come on down, right? Come on down. But the less dead, like the very bottom, it's like a black prostitute. Like you kill a black prostitute, like nobody cares. And this was, I think Sam Little was during the, I don't even know what his dates are. We'll look at him. We're going to look at him as well in this episode. But yeah, I think he was getting it in like the 70s, right? During the regular age, the golden age of the serial killers, right? The 70s, birthplace, Los Angeles, city of angels. What is it? Los Angeles, right? So it's like, man. So, he has this tier. Now, we're talking about Wayne Williams. Wayne Williams is killing these black kids. Well, they're close to the less dead. Like I guess they're in the less dead pile because so many of them was going missing during 79 in Atlanta, and nobody was even looking. Like it was like, look, man, these little motherfuckers die every day. Like, nah, they don't. Like, what are you talking about, right? So it's like, look, man, a kid is only going to die because maybe some adult, look, he overestimated his strength, and he, pushed or knocked him down, or he got hit by a car, or it's not like they're just not just going to be just vanishing, right? Kids just don't do that. So I want to say that like a bunch of them went missing before it even hit the attention of the city, right? And the main reason why it even hit the attention is because people started to, bring up these stories and started to speak. Maybe it's the KKK. Now, once that is introduced, then it's like, if it's the KKK, then it's going to be a race riot. It's going to be a race war. It's going to be a riot. They're going to burn down the city again, right? Atlanta's going to burn again. So then they started to bring attention, and the mothers, they never lost that drive. They never lost, forget about my son, forget about my daughter. Like nah, the mothers, those Atlanta mothers, they kept it in the media, right? Well, they didn't keep it in the media, but they kept it in the police ear. Look, man, have you heard any word on my kid? Have you did this? Look, boom, how many more bodies, right? So those mothers they actually formed a coalition, an alliance, and would go to the police department. And look, the number's up to 5, it's up to 10. Like, when are y'all going to speak on this, right? So they kept doing that, but it didn't get into, it had no type of traction until the rumor of the KKK, because, like we said, of the implications of what that meant to the city as a whole, right? And so if you're running it, you're the mayor, you're the governor of Georgia, right? You're the mayor of Atlanta in that 79, like, the last thing you want, right? And in a country, the last thing you want is some type of race riot in the country. Like, you do not want that. Why? Because we're talking about money. And that's why I say earlier that it's about money. It's not about race. It's not about race, right? It's not. That's just, look, y'all need some stuff to do. Race and race hatred and race, gender, all of that stuff. All of that is just a side quest. You playing your favorite open world game. Look, man, what you like to do? What you want to do? You want to care about race. You want to care about gender. You want to care about the Redskins. You want to care about the Baltimore Ravens. What? You want to care about the Orioles. What, man? You want to care about white napkins versus brown napkins. You want to care about the trees. Like, yo, what side quest you want? Huh? What side quest you trying to run down? Oh, man, alternative rock is better. Look, man, drummers, like, what? Hip hop is trash. Like, what, man? What side quest you want? Okay, because this main track is about money. Okay, this main track is about money. Now, so many people can jump into an open world video game and just never beat the game because they just get caught up in all of these side quests. And some of them will play a side quest to a certain point and then just put the game down. Like, man, they never even got a chance to get on the main storyline to even beat the game. They don't even know how to beat the game, right? So that's just to say that, like, yo, that's what this is about. So once those child murders really start to interfere with the money, then it was a problem. It's like, yo, it's a problem. Right. So now they looking and they got to investigate. That's the thing, man. Again, the humanity, right? Like, yo, humanity is going to investigate and they're going to come to a conclusion. They're going to find what it is. Like, that's just the beauty of the human brain. Like, and you just got to love it. You just got to, like, man, those FBI agents, those police officers, right? Like, man, you gotta love them because, like, they went in there with all of these different, leads, and they followed them down and start to cancel them out. Okay, boom, it's not this, right? So they're looking, all right. They go into these communities where the children are being abducted. And these are black communities, right? They're going into black communities. And they're like, yo, it can't be a white person because they're going to stand out in these black neighborhoods. It's just like in Baltimore, like in the 90s. My block, like if you was white, you was going to stand out. You would stand out. You would stand out like a sore thumb. Like, there were no whites in my neighborhood. Like, none. Not one. The cops, the bus drivers, the whoever. The electric people who working at, like, BG&E, Baltimore Gas and Electric. Like, yo, it was all black, right? So when a white person came in, and we're talking about the heart. Like, this is the heart of the hood. Like, you know how far you got to come from the toe to the heart? Like, yo, once you cross that navel, that belly button, like, yo, you came a long way, my friend. You came a long way. You came a very long way. You're going to be noticed. Like, yo, dumbass, this isn't, you're not in Kansas anymore. Okay, so that's what they realized because they're looking for this, the connection. Okay, is it the KKK? Now, Meanwhile, while they're starting to investigate, they start looking at the evidence, and they had some fresh crime scenes as well, and they didn't see any evidence, right? Because by this time, we talking about 79, 80. Like, yo, people are aware of police tactics. Like I said, the right hand puts pressure on the left hand gets stronger. So whoever's killing these kids, they're not leaving a lot of evidence. They're not leaving evidence, right? The typical evidence that you would I'm just in the presence. You come to my house like, yo, there's evidence of me living here, right? You go to my job my exact station where I work is going to be evidence of me working there. Even when I'm gone, right? A team comes in, boom. Yeah, this is Bo, right? We found his DNA, we found his fingerprints. Like, yo, he was here. So the criminal, whoever's doing this, whoever's killing these kids, are aware of the tactics that the police made public, right? So look, whoever's doing this, like, yo, this person is aware. This person is aware. He's trying not to get caught, he or she at this point, because we don't know who it is, right? We don't know who it is. If it's a team, we don't know anything. But one thing that we do know now by looking at the environment and looking at, okay, where these kids are being abducted from, one thing that we do know now is that this person cannot be white. Like, we have to accept that. So now they're like, all right, so now we're looking for a black guy. So they're starting to interview people around. Hey, who was the last person to see this kid, right? And eventually, I want to say that the name Wayne Williams comes up, but it's casual, right? They're not thinking, okay, because there's a whole bunch of names coming up. Yeah, it was Tony Black, man. He was I saw him around there with them damn kids. I told her, like, oh man, y'all need to stay away from Tony Black, man. So you're getting all of these different names, right? Oh yeah, look, Robert Kelly over there. He always been touching them damn kids. Like, I know he got something to do with it. It was Robert Kelly, right? So you're getting all of these different names are coming up. Now, Wayne Williams' name comes up, but like I said, we got Blackwell, Black Man, Johnson, Jamal, Trey, Tyrone, R. Kelly. Like, we got all these different names, right? So you know, it's hard to sift through. You just can't just lock in on somebody, right? You're getting so many names, but you're doing you're following through and you're doing your questioning, and I want to say that eventually they do question Wayne Williams, right? He gave a statement, and it was okay. It was all right. Boom, go on, right? Because like they don't know yet. Look, there's nothing that's really saying that it's you, and you're holding up well. So all right, boom, the murders like kick up, and by investigating the scene, they find out that they have some fibers that all of these murders have in common. Well, not all of them, but quite a few. Quite a few of the murders have a fiber. It's like a green fiber. So that's what they collected from. And just to look, you never know. Like, that stuff could have been planted, because we know that that's something that cops do. So we can't act like they don't. Like, we know that just from the crack game. Cops will plant evidence on a suspect to convict him. So that is reality. So they're finding this trace fibers, right? They're finding these fibers on the victims, and I believe that was like that's pretty much all that they were really finding. But it put a lot of those kids. It connected a lot of them. Okay, so one thing that you could say was that it was a cop, and he's gearing up, like he's building up, and so he's putting the fiber right on all of these victims. So eventually he could put the whole thing on one person, right? That's one way of looking at it. But but what happened was they leaked that information to the public, right? They leaked that information to the public, and then they started finding the bodies in the water. So that told them that, okay, whoever it is, now that they are aware that we're linking all of this stuff with the fiber, so now this person is trying to get rid of the fiber, because whatever they're doing, like however they're doing the murder and the killing. And I remember there was a guy who he told me that he hung somebody. And but the way he told me, this was back in the hood, and it was an older guy. And I'm probably like maybe 13 to 15. We're all out, hanging out. Me and North and Bond. And this older guy, right, he says, the best way to kill a person so that you don't get caught, he said that it's by hanging them. That's what he told us. Right? He was saying there's no whatever, no fingerprints on rope or something like that. Right? Now we know now, like in 2021, that look, man, I mean, I'm sure he would have had gloves on too, because this guy, he would have been like in the 80s, right? Because he was older in the 90s, so his day would have been in the 80s. So even in the 80s, you knew to wear gloves, right? So you got your gloves and you got your rope, and boom, like, it's going to be hard to solve that. And he knew that. So he told us, like, that's how he got it in. It's like, man, right? And as a kid, you're hearing this is like from one of our heroes. So it's not even like you scared. It's just like, oh, all right. But me personally, I didn't think like, man, I need to go hang somebody. Like, I didn't think of that. But, you just like, this is, look, he'll kill us. So if we ever have any issues, I mean, look, this is our go-to guy. Like, you ever have any problems, no real serious problems, this is the guy you go to, right? So now we're back on Wayne, and they find these fibers, right? They find these fibers, then they leak it to the media that, look, they're connecting these murders with the fibers. So then they start dumping the bodies. Now the bodies are being dumped in the river, right? Because at first they was finding them out in the woods. They was finding them other places. It's called staged. They call it like staged crime scenes, where the killer does the murder somewhere, and then he or she brings them to a new location, and meticulously sometimes, right? Because usually these murders are going to be done, like what we find out and what we found out is that, these murderers, these serial killers, they get a thrill from killing, right? Now there's a struggle. There's usually like, they like all of it, right? Like I remember just being out in the dating world, and you just like, it's a thrill, and actually, you see a girl that you like, and it's like, man, I gotta get close to her, and then eventually you get close, and then you make a little small conversation, and you get the phone number, and you call them, you're talking to them, and boom, you're gonna go out to eat. maybe go to a movie. You know, this is back in like 2000s, right? Even like the late 90s, because I'm like a teenager around that time. So I got a job, and right, you go out, and just that whole like the whole experience. That's what you liked, right? And then leading up to when you drop them off at their house. I was riding the bus, so I didn't drop anybody off. But what I would do is we would get off the bus together, and I would walk them home, right? Like I remember this one girl, let's say her name rhymes with Tronice. And I remember, like, you know, walking her home. Like I forgot if we went to a movie, and I walked her home, and then like right when, you know, we're at the door, and you know, I'm like, man, all right, go for the hug. I mean, look, this is a first like official date, so you know, I ain't going to try to put the tongue in the mouth just yet. You know, we're going to save that. All right, so we're going to save it maybe second or third. I mean, look, I don't know, but you put it on the girl, right? Look, all right, she wants a kiss. You know, I'm gonna go in, but you know, she gets to decide what level of kiss that this is gonna be, right? So, like I said, you go through that whole stage, and then boom, first official date, go to the movies, get some eat now, get on the bus, take her back home, walk her to her door, and she lets you know that, okay, it's okay for the hug. All right, well, look, boom, and then, you know, look, I'm a savage, so my hug is look, I'm going for that lower back meat, okay? I'm going for the lower back meat, all right? And then boom, and you know, Tronice is she's accepting. Look, this is cool. You like, yo, right? So that whole long drawn out thing, these serial killers, like, yo, they savor, especially the one, like this suspect, because at this point we don't know who it is, but this person, I mean, they're enjoying every moment, like from stalking to actually getting to talk to the child, right, to his victim, to the suspect's victim, to getting the victim in his car, in the suspect's car, right? I just don't want to say he, because we don't know, right? We can't rule women out. Like a part of us, we got to rule them out, because it's like, look, man, some of these boys, they like 13, 14, and like, I just, you know, come on, man. I really don't got no woman being able to you know, subdue a boy maybe with a syringe, right? Maybe they hit him with that one hitter quitter, and boom, right? So that could be a possibility, right? But even that is like, all right, is kind of leaning towards a male that we're looking for. So now we're looking for a black man, right? We X'd out that it was a white man. Now we're looking for a black man. So suspect is savoring all of this stuff after the killing. He is meticulously clearing the body of evidence, right? Wherever this happened at, it was a lot of evidence there. Wherever this stuff is taking place, there's a lot of evidence. Now, where he's staging it, there's no evidence, right? Because since there's no evidence here and it's meticulous, then we just got to know that, look, man, there's a lot of evidence wherever this stuff is taking place. So, boom, you get the fiber. He hears about it now, and they're dumped in the water. So now we gotta, as cops, right, we're trying to catch this guy. We have to put patrols, and the murder's kicked up, right? I think he was like doing one a week. So this guy's like brazy. He brazy blood. And he's just like, he's turned up. This guy's feeling Like he's really giving it to the system and to the people. And he has something against like black children. Right? He has something against black children. And like he's letting us know that, yo, I'm smarter than y'all. Like, yo, y'all looking for me? I'm a dispose. Every week is gonna be a new kid. Like, so he brazy blood. I mean, that's just like, man, like, wow. So now they staking out, and they eventually get a hit. I think, people always gotta be like, hey, it was the last day. They got like, it's the freaking Mighty Ducks out here. It's always the fight. It was the last ending in the last, and he hits a grand slam and got 90 points and was able to win, right? So they say, all right, this is the last days, but the wrap ups is the very last day. And a car, they hear a splash in the water, right? Because they're staking out on these bridges. They hear a splash in the water, and then the lights get on the bridge, car lights turn on, and then it drives over so it's the middle of the bridge. It drives over to the end, turns around, and then goes back over the bridge. So remember, they're watching. So we got it. All right, the lights on. They stop them, and boom, who is it? Wayne Williams. So Wayne Williams was the one driving the car, but they didn't have any evidence. They didn't have any need to stop him, like to hold him, to detain him. They didn't have a reason to stop him, and they let him go. But he's on the radar. So now, they actually eventually they put that out to the public and the media. They're like, yo, we believe that Wayne Williams is the Atlanta child murderer. So like the media and the police and just everybody is on his ass. Like they watching him and they just doing this and that, and they're building up, trying to, get the evidence, trying to get this, trying to get that. And the profiler is like, because, once they establish that, look, this might be a serial killer, then they like, look, we need the resources. We don't have enough resources for this. So they dig in, get the FBI involved, the FBI profiler, because, contrary to movies and stuff like that, the FBI, they're like nerds. The profiler division, they're like book nerds. They just crunch numbers, look at the data, and send out the report. Right? They're not in the field, and they got a gun, and they're the FBI agent, get down, get on the ground. Like, nah, man. They just cook up these reports and they just sending them with the bill. Look, Atlanta, your bill for this. Look, because we're gonna hit you with a $100,000 bill. We're gonna give you 1,000 pages. Okay, so at least you get $100 a page. All right, we're gonna give you. Here you go. So they hit them with the report. So they got the profile, and the profile is saying that, okay, this killer will probably have something close to law enforcement, and probably have a dog, and like he would probably want to be a cop, or right, like just the way he moving, he definitely these are some of the things that y'all should be looking out for. So when they start investigating and looking at Wayne Williams, well, he's fitting the profile. He's fitting it. Like he has a German Shepherd. I think he was telling people that he was like in the military, and he was just like, look, he's like kind of like a cop type of guy, a security guard type of guy. They get him. He's arrogant, right? He's arrogant, and he has a disdain for black children. He said that like the lowlifes that Les did type of theory. He didn't say those words, right? But he was saying, look, the kids who got killed, I mean, they was out at night doing some stuff that they shouldn't have been doing. So they deserve to die. I mean, like, that's how he was saying it. And like that definitely didn't help his case, because it's like, look, man, I mean, you angry at black children, like, oh, black children are getting strangled. I mean, what is it? Strangulation. I think that's how you would pronounce it, strangulation. I'm sure I'm missing some part in that word, but I don't think it'd be strangulation. But all in all, right, to strangle someone is it's an intimate, passionate type of murder, right? Like you feel passion for this person. There's like, look, man, this isn't just just got some Jews over there. We just killing Jews, man. Hitler sent the word out, man. We just killing. Like, look, it's not that. This is something that you really feel strong and passionate about, right? Hitler put the word out, but he's right. I agree, right? So it's like, yo, you real passionate about this, man. Like, what's up? Like, so that's how Wayne Williams is towards these black children. And it's like, yo, that's not helping your case. So they eventually get the warrant to search the house. But of course, look, we already know from his staging that, look, this guy's good, right? This guy's good. But they find, I think they take a few pieces of like carpet and different fabrics and material from his house and the cars and stuff like that. And then they link it, right? They link the fibers to the murders, but he got charged with two. I think it was two murders that he got charged for, but they weren't even children, right? They were, I want to say maybe like one was like 18, maybe one was like 20 something. And but they linked those same fibers to the kids. Now, there's definitely, because he's always maintained his innocence, right? Even up until now, if you guys go and see him or go and contact him, send him a letter or something, like, he's gonna maintain his innocence. And there's a few things, because some of the moms feel like he didn't, like one mom was like, no, he didn't kill her son. She doesn't believe that he killed her son, right? And I want to say that she believes that it was the KKK, right? So she didn't believe that he killed her son. But another mom was like, yeah, I believe that he killed my son, right? So this trace evidence, right? That's what brought him down. Now, once they presented that to the jury, and mainly his cockiness and his arrogance, because they had him on stand, and I think maybe towards one of the last few days or whatever, they get him on stand, and he went off. He went irate. He's like, oh, you want the real Wayne Williams? And, he goes off on this Custard final last stand, right? He goes off on his last stand, and that's what convicted him. That's how people feel. That is what convicted him. That made people feel like, nah, man, this guy did it. And even when you watch that type of stuff, it's like, yeah, just his arrogance and just his amusement to the whole fact, and his disdain for black children, like that type of stuff. It make me feel like he did it, right? But there's still some questions that I would like. And so if I was investigating, what I would want to know is, because he was hiding under the guise of a talent scout. Right? He was looking for the next Jackson 5. He's looking for the next kid group. He was booking studio time. One of his assistants said that she saw some like deep scratches on his arm which I would look. When was that? Because even if it's that deep, like we're still going to be able to see that. Look, shave his arms. I want to see if I can see the remnants of that. So look. So if me as Bo investigating this, I'm going to look. I need to corroborate that story. Okay. Look. Let's get. I need images of his arms. All right. Because look, like. And this is no offense, right? But this is just ignorance, and I can even have ignorance as well towards another culture. So it was a white woman that was his partner, and this is what she said. She said that I saw deep, whole bunch of scratches and stuff on his arm, and he said that he fell into a bush or he fell into the woods, and that's how he scraped his arm. Now, I want pictures of his arms because, white people might feel like, because he black, he not going to have any scars, right? Like, he still going to have some scars. Like, look, I don't care if it happened 2 years ago, if it happened a year ago, right? And we're talking about this is 79, 80. We catch him in 81, right? So so no matter when that happened in that time frame, like I'm going to be able to shave the hair off his arms and look at his arms, and I'm going to see that, right? So that's one thing that I want to see. Then I want to establish that these kids, were they singers? Right? Like, were these kids singers? Because, like, all right, so if he's masquerading around as a talent scout, like, were they any type of, is this some of the interest that they had, or right? Then I would actually send a black guy out to these Atlanta hoods, right? An undercover agent or an informant that we're working with, and get him to do the same charade. Okay, does this work in the hood? Boom, you're a talent scout back in the 80s. 79, 81, right? Does this work? Does this work? Right? And see how many people can we get to get into the car or take a drive or give us your information or just anything. After we give that information, like, so the first time, I need to see if that kid goes home and tells someone, right? Oh, I just met, Barry Morty. Who? Barry? Yeah, Barry Morty. Larry Morty. I just met Larry Morty. And he said he going to give me a record deal or he want to see my magic trick or whatever, right? So are they going home or do they just get in the car right then and there? So like, so this way I can kind of get an idea of, all right, what's going on? What's really happening? Right? So these are some of the things, like if I was investigating that, I would have to cross out because they brought all of this stuff to the trial, but they didn't answer it. So if you don't answer, so if you tell me that he's masquerading around as a talent scout, but none of these kids, can't even play the radio, come on, man, that doesn't make sense. All right. This woman, she said that all of these scratches, well, we got pictures and he has all of these scratches. Now, he's going to say whatever. He's going to say, yeah, I either fell or I did whatever, right? So I don't know who's telling the truth, but at least I can say she might be telling the truth. Okay? At least I can say that. So if I have that, boom, she said that she saw all these scratches, all these scars. I'm going to bring this up to the bring up these pictures. Here are all of these, scars on his arms. We have that. He's a talent scout. He was going around saying he was a talent scout. All of these children were had some type of talent or had some type of something that they believed, that could get their family out of poverty or, kind of bring in some money, extra money, kind of help out. So I want to prove those type of things. They just brought it up, but they didn't give any answers. So I don't like I said, I believe look, I believe that he was definitely. I would have gave a guilty on it, right? I would have been like, yo, this nigga guilty. But if I was a prosecutor, that's the type of stuff that I would have wanted, because like I would have to answer those. So if I'm just throwing shit on the wall to see what sticks, like because when you don't answer all of those things but you bring them up, then it's like, yo, he might not have done it. What we do know is that after he was arrested, these child murders stopped. Now, when we look at BTK, we're not going to like dive into him like we did with Wayne. But when we look at BTK, we know that he took long periods of time. Oh yeah, I do have a water. I was about to say I should have brought a water. All right, here we go. Let's crack this agua. Let's crack this agua. All right, so BTK took some time off in between his murders. So just because Wayne Williams and Ted Bundy, like he left and went to different. He would leave an area, right? So just because the murders stopped when Wayne Williams went to jail, that doesn't mean that the murders stopped or that the killer was caught, or right, like, but strangulation murders of children stopped in Atlanta once the spotlight was put on him. And remember, like I said before he was caught, like, yo, it was a body every week. Like he revved it up, like, yo. He really hated black children, right? So another thing I would have really looked into that, to like, okay, how was his childhood, right? Just examining all of it. His childhood, teenagers, okay, boom, established that he was an outcast, that he wasn't cool, that, la la la, blah blah blah. So that way we can say like, yo, this is why he this is pretty much why he didn't like black children, right? So, and he was getting them. He said he was saying, for anybody to get caught up in some stuff like that, they was doing some stuff they shouldn't have been doing, right? So, and so then we got to use those different type of, even with our informant, right? We got to see, okay, what are these kids getting into out here, right? And so that we can kind of get an idea, okay, how he's picking his victims, who he's actually going after, and the rate. Like, okay, boom, we got this decoy right here. He was able to get, boom, this many children in the car using this and blah, 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 right? So that way we can kind of understand and say like, yo, this is how he was doing. This is what he was doing, even though we actually don't have any video footage, but just using the tactics that he used, these are some of the things that we were able to accomplish, right? So that's what I would have done if I was the leading prosecution or the leading prosecutor in his case. But they did enough, and Wayne was given two life sentences in Atlanta. So that means that, like, yo, life is life, not 20 years, right? Like, nah, this is real life. Like life. So he almost won his first, what is it? Parole. It's not parole, but it's like when you contest the verdict, right? I can't think of the actual proper name for it, but he almost won that. One of the judges felt like it really wasn't enough evidence to convict him, but the other 5 judges was like, nah, it wasn't enough. Like, yo, we're not overturning this. So that judge, the one who felt like he was innocent or it wasn't proven, he's like, all right, well, I can't go against the look. There's 5 other judges saying like, yo, we upholding this conviction. And that guy was still alive. I think he was like in his 90s, maybe 10 to 15 years ago. And he did an interview where he was saying like, yo, it It wasn't enough evidence to say that Wayne Williams, that it was proven that Wayne Williams did this, right? So that's what he went on record as saying. Now, Sam Little, we're not going to spend as much time on Sam Little because, again, we're really looking at DNA evidence. And, man, there was another serial killer, which they found him through, I don't know if they did the Strangler. I can't think of Rodriguez or, I can see his face. I just can't think of his name. He's in L.A. He was like the Night Stalker. Yeah. Ramirez, I believe that's his name. Ramirez, the Night Stalker. He wasn't caught by paternal DNA, but there was a serial killer who was caught that way. I don't believe that's what happened with Sam Little, though. But Sam Little, he was a serial killer, another black serial killer. And he, like I said, he introduced this idea of less dead and more dead, right? This hierarchy of death that he already established. And he just went around, like, just kind of, I think he started maybe in Ohio. And he just went around the country just killing, right? And he was killing like prostitutes, mainly like black prostitutes, but he killed a white prostitute. And he actually tried to kill two ladies of the night. So yeah, I don't want to rush his story because I think his story is good, and I also want to speak on the serial killer that was killed that got caught through like paternal DNA. They was able to just kind of follow the chromosome and be like, okay, it has to be like a cousin or a descendant. Like they found out, like, yo, this is whoever this killer is, his cousin is in jail, right? And then they just kind of like just followed the chromosome. Like it's just crazy. And then they locked in. And that was a black guy as well. So yeah. I think we're gonna cover that next time. So we're gonna cover Sam Little and that guy, and whoever else, the couple guys who got caught using that type of DNA and following the genealogy. Because I think that, like, yo, that's like a game changer. But remember, when the right hand applies pressure on the left hand becomes stronger. So, people are going to figure out ways to either use this or evade it, right? Which they're like serial rapists. They use condoms. Like there was like a mass serial rapist who that's what he did. Like, yo, he would abduct a girl from her house and be like, yo, put this condom on me. You feel me? Like, yo, make them do it. Like, yo, he, or he would do it, right? Whatever one. But the whole idea was he wasn't a killer, but he was definitely raping a lot. He raped a lot, and he wore a condom, right? So he was going to like different towns so that these people, like, they just would look. They wasn't identifying him, and his DNA was not in the system, right? So we'll cover. We're gonna look at that because I think that's very interesting. Another thing that I want to get into for this last part, for the next 5 minutes, is the movie Dune, which doesn't have anything to do with serial killers. I just like the movie. I just liked it. I just like the way it was shot, just the cinematography, right? Just the composition of like how they just shot those shots, man. It was just beautiful. I mean, it was just very artistic, I swore. I mean, after watching it, like if you would have made a bet, okay, this is either going to be directed by Ridley Scott, Tony Yayo, or 50 Cent. Like, yo, who you think? I'm like, yo, man, this is Ridley Scott. Like, yo, this thing has Ridley Scott fingerprints all on it. Throw that Ridley Scott on it. Like, man, this thing was shot like a Ridley Scott movie. Like, I swear it was. Like, man. Like, look, and then I saw that it wasn't shot by, it wasn't directed by Ridley Scott, but the whoever the cinematographer is, like, it has to be the same person. Like, yo, like, Ridley Scott knows whoever is, he has some type of influence or his fingerprint is somewhere in the Dune movie, this new remake or revisioning of it. Like, it's his fingerprint is somewhere. His DNA is in this movie. Like, just by the way, just the way it's shot. I mean, it's like, man, it's very beautiful. Like, it really is. Like, and that's one thing about Ridley Scott. Some of his newer works, like, man, I mean, it's just beautiful, right? Like, even if the movie isn't good, like, you could just watch it. Like, man, this is visually beautiful. And Dune definitely is visually beautiful. I like the story as well, but one of the things that I like, and this isn't a spoiler for anyone who has been living under a rock, right? Or you new guys, you was just born in 2000, 2001, 98, you was born in 98, you might you might not have seen Dune, right? So if that's the case, like, this isn't a spoiler, right? This isn't a spoiler. But one of the things that I found very intriguing about the movie is is actually the backstory, right? And the way that they do this movie, this is the way that it should be done. This is the way that you handle backstories. Okay, this is a shot at freaking what is it? I can't remember the freaking movie, Part 2. About the aliens, like Silence or Don't Talk or whatever the hell it was called. Let Me Keep Quiet, Quiet Place 2. Like, yo, this is a direct shot at Quiet Place 2. Because in Dune, there was a war. There was like, in the backstory, like, 2,000 years before Dune happens, there was a AI rebellion, right? You get the AI story, right? The Terminator, the Matrix type of story. So this happened 2,000 years or, several years before Dune. And that's what you get, right? Now, because of that, because of the Terminator and all of those, they kept going back and trying to rewrite time, and they just couldn't do it, right? So eventually they like, look, man, we just got to deal with the problem now. So they dealt with it. And one of the things that they did was computer technology was now banned. So after they was able to, overcome AI, overcome the grips and the war of AI or whatever, the AI years, right? After they was able to survive that, then they just decided that, like, yo, nah, we're not going to let that happen again, right? So you don't see, now they still have like ships, they still have like huge ships and all of that type of stuff, but everything is analog, right? I mean, it's just so crazy. And they don't even tell you that. They don't even tell you, but you see it, right? It's there for you to see if you look. So if you're looking, it's there for you to see. So they didn't have to tell you. They have to do, this monologue on how, there was a great war. Like, nah, they don't even tell you that. But if you are looking and you want to see something, it's there for you to see. And that's the biggest thing that I really liked about the movie, like how to handle a backstory, right? You don't need to just, put it just right in your face, because if you don't do it right, then it's like, yo, man, that's just trash. And now I'm trashing your movie. But there's a lot of small little things, and we're going to talk about Dune later, right? We're definitely going to talk about it later, because there's a lot of good things in there, that a lot of good concepts that I like about that movie. But that's definitely a movie that I like. Now, that's not to say that it didn't have its flaws. Like, yeah, it has flaws. Like, every movie has flaws. I don't go out looking for flaws. But if your flaw just stands out like a sore thumb, like I'm going to say something like, yo, man, you probably want to get that looked out, man. You probably want to get that checked out, okay? Look. So yeah, that's that. Anything? Let's see. I'm hitting that Tekken hard. So hopefully you guys will see me in some big tournament, and I would say probably 2022, right? If the COVID thing laxes up. So if we catch COVID lacking, you're going to see me in some tournaments. I definitely expect to win and to carve out a place for myself in the community. So that you got that, and that's really it. The next one we're gonna explore Sam Little, because I want to explore the guys, because this is going to be like two more black people. So 2 more black guys. One of them, like I said, got caught through paternal genealogy and just following the chromosome. That's very amazing. And then we got Sam Little, which is going to be prolific. Like, yo, he's a very prolific killer. But like I said, man, a few of his victims got away to actually confront him in court, and he still got off. So that's weird. So we got him, and we're going to look at some women. So we might do the women in a separate episode, right? So that way, kind of give them their own little thing, and not to just give them the last 5 minutes like we did this Dune movie that I highly recommend. I think it was good, but if you watching, you're like, this is trash. Bo don't know good movies. Like, Bo don't know this. Bo don't know that. Hey, he can't sing and he can't rap. Like, oh man. And his movie selection, what you think about that? Like, oh, so even if you don't like it, it's okay. Like, it's flaws and everything, but yeah, I definitely highly recommend Dune. And that is it. Reese's PCC.
Really? That's so sweet of you.
Well, hop on to my flying Nimbus, because we really should get going.
You mean I can actually ride on this thing without falling?
Well, sure, but you do have to have a pure heart.
Oh, that's okay. When your dad's the Ox King, you always behave well.
I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibes. Got no time for bullshit in my life. I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibe. Got no time for bullshit in my life. Super Saiyan with this flow. Like Vegeta, my heart stay cold. Smoking on that Saiyan bro. Feeling like I'm on a Nimbus cloud, yo. I just want it all. I just wanna ball. Wanna go to the mall, not care about the cost. Puffin' on the dope stove in a sweet or raw. Hella high, singing catchy songs. My mind stay floating. Smoking on this potent. Got my mind constantly going. Has me going slow motion. Wanna be sipping Arizona tea, rolling up the finest weed. In San Diego, by the beach, living how I should be. I'm just trying to live my life, so my blunt and stay lit. Fuck of the drama, that's my mindset. Feeling good, just vibing. You can catch me smiling. I'm up in the clouds, I'm flying. Got no time for no bullshit or lying. I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibes. Got no time for bullshit in my life. I'ma kick back and have a good time. Drama free, that's how I live my life. Inhale high, enjoying the vibes. Got no time for bullshit in my life. Let's go, man. Fuck all that drama shit. Take me to my paradise. Give me some video games. Give me some double cheeseburgers. Give me some good ass weed. And let's go.